In the first plague, God turns the water in Egypt to blood. And then we're told that the Egyptian wizards were able to do the same thing. And then in the second plague, God sends the frogs against Egypt. And again, we're told that the Egyptian wizards were able to do the same thing with their magic. And so if I asked you, were the Egyptian wizards able to replicate the first two plagues? You'd say, well, obviously, that's what the Torah tells us. And yet, fascinatingly, one commentator says, no, they were not able to imitate those first two plagues. What's going on? He explains that as the Medrash tells us, what was so incredible about the first two and the later plagues was the differentiation between the Egyptians and the Jews. Only the water owned or held by the Egyptians turned into blood. Same thing with the frogs. When God introduced those frogs only terrorized, targeted the Egyptian homes, jumping in their ovens, jumping on their beds, left the Jewish homes alone. And then when the Egyptian wizards imitated those plagues, it was the barest of imitations. They turned a little bit of water into blood, but there was no differentiation. They created a few frogs through magic or sleight of hand, but those frogs just stood around and did frog-type things. They caught flies, they sat on lily pads, they said ribbit. That was it. They didn't only target the homes of the Egyptians. And yet, the passages are telling us openly that the Egyptian wizards were able to do the same thing. Why? And the answer is that God is teaching us a lesson. That's how powerful our evil inclination is, the Yetzer Hara. That's what it looked like in the minds of the Egyptians. They saw these unbelievable plagues, miracles, differentiating between the Jewish homes and the Egyptian homes. And yet, when their magicians barely imitated one small aspect, but without the differentiation, right away their evil inclination said to them, well, you see, it wasn't a miracle. It was the same thing we just did. You don't have to believe in that miracle. You don't have to believe in God. And we do the same thing. Probably everybody out there, if you go back in the story of your life, could be how you met your spouse, how you got your job, how you got that deal, how you got that client, how you found your home, how you found an apartment, big stories, little stories. You've undoubtedly got some stories that are wild. Exact right place, at the exact right time. You know, that looked like a miracle. But then your evil inclination starts whispering, it wasn't a miracle. It was just a big coincidence. Why? Because if it's a miracle, that means that God did it. And you've got to recognize him. And you've got to thank him. If it's a coincidence, okay, so it's a coincidence. And so when we get that little whisper from our evil inclination, we've got to turn and scream back. No, 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 my buddy, my friend. That was not a coincidence. That was a miracle. That was God. And thank you, God, for that.